About the bracket, and then also just getting that #1 seed.
Yeah, the #1 seed was something that I just think gives credit to our program. It establishes us as one of the very best teams in America, and so it's just a credit to our recognition, which I'm very happy about. But it's just a number, right? We got to the championship game with the #2 seed last year, so we know #1 seeds don't guarantee anything.
It's been the first time since 1992. So, I mean, it is, you've done a million things here, but this one was one that, okay, you slayed another dragon, I guess it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Like right now, I'm just kind of looking at like this week, and I try to break this tournament into week segments, like these 2 games this week, and then the next 2. You just try to break it down like that, because if you look at the overall picture, I think it can be overwhelming, to look at all those teams. But now we have a path, and we know what it's going to take.
I know you're not going to be looking too much farther ahead in the first round game, but do you feel like you like having to play the team from the playing game? Does that matter, good, bad, one way or the other?
Well, the only thing is that we don't have as much time to prepare for them. It's like we don't know which one of those that we're going to be playing. Obviously, it's kind of a flip of the coin, and so you can't spend all your time investing in one team like you would if you knew exactly who you were playing. So that's the only thing.
What do you know about West Virginia's Princeton? Have you crossed any paths watching any other films?
I don't know much about either one of them, and so I'm going to be excited to get down there and start watching some film.
There are a lot of familiar names in this bracket. What were you thinking when you saw?
I was a bit surprised by the Kansas State, just because I've always heard that they don't like you to play against somebody so early that you've already played, and we played them twice already this year. So I was a little bit surprised by that one, but definitely a lot of familiar faces with Colorado in there, and LSU, right? It's in that same one. So a lot of familiar faces, but I think that's okay. That's not a bad thing.
Including Drake.
Including Drake, that's right.
Very
that's
familiar
right.
program for Jane, especially.
Yeah.
When you look, what went on this last week? How much time did you give them away? Was their spring break, I guess?
Yeah, it was their spring break, and I gave them quite a bit of time off. I just feel like we were exhausted after last week. We played 3 games in less than 48 hours time. Unheard of. Unsafe, really, in my opinion. They were exhausted. Our staff was exhausted. We took Monday, Tuesday off. We practiced really well Wednesday, Thursday, and I gave them Friday and Saturday off again. I wanted them to have a reset, because today we practiced, and now it's go, and there's going to be no time for breaks. And I think this time of year, having your legs under you is really, really important, and not having injuries happen in practice that could be avoided.
Speaking of those injuries too, can we get an update on Molly, how she's doing? I saw she was not on crutches tonight, at least.
Yeah, she's not on crutches, but she's still limping. Not a good sign. I was hoping she'd be further along by now than she is. I'm not saying that she will or won't play this weekend. I don't know, but it's not as good as I was hoping it would be by now.
You talked about playing back to back to back like that in this tournament. How much does that kind of help, though, going into the NCAA tournament, where you said it's just go until the season's over?
Yeah, now it is. And that's again why I kind of gave them that time off, is because now there are no more breaks. It is go. And so, going into this tournament, I feel like we are prepared as we could be prepared. Playing in that Florida tournament where we played 3 games in 3 days, playing in the Big Ten tournament 3 games in 3 days. That requires so much of them mentally to be able to do that, to flush the last scout, to have the new one come in, and now we'll have an extra day of prep in between, so they'll be ready for it. I think the thing I feel like we're more prepared for is atmospheres. I feel like every game that we've played in this year has been that NCAA atmosphere. It's been an unbelievable crowd. We've had our names circled on everybody's schedule. And so I think that we're prepared just because of what we've went through throughout the year, not just during the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I was really excited. I think we planned on just sitting and clapping, and then when we saw the one up there, my adrenaline just kind of boosted me up, and I just, jumped up in the air. So I'm really excited. Really happy for this program and for Coach Booter. 1 seed, obviously it doesn't, matter a whole lot, but it's just really cool to see that one by our name.
What was your thoughts when you started to see the rest of the bracket and fail?
Yeah.
LSU, Colorado, Louisville, Kansas State.
K-State,
teams
UCLA. Played. Yeah, really good teams, but there's a lot of parity in the college women's basketball these days, and so we knew it wasn't going to be an easy path, and we're excited for what's ahead, and it's going to make it that much sweeter for us. Just take it one game at a time. But yeah, we have a really tough side of the bracket, and that's good. That's exciting, and we're just really excited for what's to come.
Saw you and Caitlin share a look and a little bit of a smile when the term "murderer's row" was first said. What telepathically was said in that little moment?
Oh man, I don't even know. I think it was just it was funny what she said, because I do think it's a tough side of the bracket, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, we don't have to play every single team on that, and you never know. It's March Madness for a reason. So yeah, more than anything, I think it's just excitement that we share telepathically.
How do you guys feel?
For me, especially this is my last selection show of my career. I feel like earlier in my career you're a little nervous, you're a little anxious sitting there wondering what your draw is going to be, but you have absolutely no control over it. So I think I'm just happy for our program. First one seed since 1992 or 93, so it's pretty impressive, and I think it just speaks to how we've been playing basketball lately, and kind of need to carry that into this tournament too.
We've been counting down your final home game to get a chance to play here at Carver, so we hope for 2 more now that we have at this point. What does this mean to be able to know that you guys have 2 more home games coming up now?
Yeah, I think just really fortunate and lucky, and kind of knowing every time I take the court could be my last, and soaking that in and going out there and playing my heart out. But anytime you get to host is a huge advantage, and I expect our fans to travel really well if we can advance off of our 2 games here off our home court. So yeah, I think more than anything I'm just excited and going to try to soak in the moment, and I know that ticket's going to be hard to come by. So
do you like playing the winner of the playing game like that? I mean, does that work in your favor, or do you?
I don't think it's a huge negative or positive. It kind of just is what it is. You probably prep a little bit for both, and once you know your opponent, you go from there for whichever one it is. And our coaches have kind of been and our managers have been coding games like every possibility possible. So credit to them.
What's your mindset as this is your last tournament now, obviously, but you had so much success last year in this event, so personally, how are you feeling going into this?
I think just understanding how long it was last year and how you really have to go game to game, after you kind of get out of the first round, every team is basically a top 25 team. That's what you're looking at, and we were on the upset side of that my sophomore year, and then obviously we were very fortunate last year. And you need a little luck, you need a good draw, you need to be playing your best basketball. But I think the biggest thing for me is just enjoy every single second, because this is the most fun basketball. You heard me say it. I think this is the greatest postseason tournament in all of sport. You don't have it one night, you're out of luck. But if you do have it and you can string some games together, you can put a special run together. So I'm really excited, honestly.
Emotionally about certain plays or shots that you've made.
That was up there for sure, because I feel because she had just hit 2 threes, right?
Yeah.
In the overtime, so
that's
up
why
there
she had
for
a
me.
quick trigger.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Is this team as ready as last year's team was to get into the NCAA?
Of course, we're just as excited. I mean, no matter what seed we were, that doesn't really matter to us. We're just gonna prepare for every team the same way. Take every game. I mean, we can't really get ahead of ourselves. We have to just take it day by day, and honestly our focus is the next practice, and we're just excited. I mean,
can you quantify how this team is different, sort of getting in, to take this next step?
From
what's different from last year with this team?
I mean, it's the same mentality. We're gonna have to be just as mentally prepared as we are physically, and just gonna have to take it day by day. I think one thing is that everyone on this team had been through that run last year, and so that's kind of good, with kind of, I don't know, used to what it takes to get there, and I think that will only help us in this run this year. But we can't really compare the years. It's a whole new, kind of a fresh new season right now, fresh new start, and so we're just ready to get it underway.
Sorry if I asked something that's already been
You're
asked,
good.
but somebody, Carolyn Peck called this murderer's row region, with all the good teams that are in that. Just your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I was saying earlier how it's a lot of familiar teams, and so that kind of can be an advantage to us. I mean, we'll know the players on the team pretty well, personnel. We might have some scouts still on these teams. So just the familiarity we can use that to our advantage. I mean, pretty good teams in our region, but we're not going to really worry about who we're going to be playing. Just when it comes, it comes.
We're not going to take any team that we play lightly. We know that it's one game at a time. When you lose, it's over. So just never looking ahead, never underestimating anyone in the tournament is really important.
Such a cliche question. How much of a chip on your shoulder was it after you did not get the 6th win of the year in Big Ten? Because it just seemed like there was an extra little edge to you.
I think I've always had that edge. It had nothing to do with being named that. But I've always been a super hard worker, and just to be able to show that in the Big Ten tournament was really special.
So it seemed like you guys not showcase your game a little bit more. Maybe it's just the extended time, but hitting threes, doing different things. You kind of feel like that. Maybe some of your most complete basketball
for sure
on campus.
Absolutely, yeah. I think those 3 games were something I was able to show of like all the hard work that I've been putting in, and that's who I am as a player. But yeah. Thank you.
So I'm working on a story about the assistant coaches.
Okay.
So do you mind?
So special, like the fact that we get to see our names pop up next to that one is really awesome, and the excitement really just holds in us that we get to play another game, and we're taking it game by game no matter what. But we're definitely hopes to finish out the season in Cleveland. So.